to bring all the action in terms of the breakdowns as well, because of course I have two gentlemen over here in Frozen Adventure, two guys that I'm very familiar with from quite a few shows across the board. Guys, we're ready. We're here for the PMWL Froz, and it's going to be a good time when it comes to it, because the East for me is where things really pack a punch.
Yeah, I mean, some would say that we have the best teams in the East. I would say we have the best team in
It's time to get the show on the road, ladies and gentlemen, as we are here.
Down goes George, that's a confirmation, instantly switches to the 16!
Really could be, let's see if they go for the engagement, Ziggy scored out, oh! Big shot!
It's time to get the show on the road, ladies and gentlemen, as we are here for the PUBG Mobile World League East. Welcome. My name is Kyle Harris. I am going to be your host throughout this month and all the festivities that are going to go down here, as every team in the Eastern regions is looking to vie to become a champion. I am going to be joining by a few people across the board here as I now head over to my commentators for the first couple of games. I have Blank and John, infinitely taller than me, but that's how the world is for a short man like me. How are you doing, Blank?
I'm doing absolutely fantastically. We're here today for the PMWL, and look, it's all right to be a short king. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'll do it. How are yourself, John?
Doing well. Obviously, sitting a couple of inches above you, but as you say, we've got a lot of time for you. You know, we're glad to have you.
Thanks. Well, at least we've got something for me, I suppose. I'm going to head over to the analysis guys as well here to bring all the action in terms of the breakdowns as well, because of course I have two gentlemen over here in Frozen Adventure, two guys that I'm very familiar with from quite a few shows across the board. Guys, we're ready. We're here for the PMWL Froz, and it's going to be a good time when it comes to it, because the East for me is where things really pack a punch.
Yeah, I mean, some would say that we have the best teams in the East. I would say we have the best team in the world there.
Hey.
And it's going to be amazing to see, because it's almost about to start here now.
I'm extremely excited to get this started. Honestly, as Frost said, we have some of the best team. I would say I think we have the best team here, and we probably have a few that will end up in the top 3 once we get into a complete global stage. But these teams, I'm excited to see these guys get started. I've seen them a few times before, obviously both in shows, but also watched them. Yeah. There are some guys that are absolutely amazing, and I cannot fathom how good they are at this game.
They're damn good, for sure. Well, before we actually get into all the festivities, of course, let's hear from one of the CAOs of Crafton, Mr. CH Kim.
안녕하세요. 크래프톤 펍지 주식회사의 CEO 김창환입니다. 먼저 펍지 모바일 월드리그 시즌 제로 PMWL의 개막을 진심으로 축하합니다. 올해 코로나 바이러스로 인해 어려움이 많았음에도 불구하고 PMWL의 최종 무대에 오르기까지 최선을 다해준 팀 선수분들, 그리고 지속적인 사랑과 지원을 보내준 팬 여러분이 있었기에 대회를 성공적으로 개최할 수 있었다고 생각합니다. 선수 여러분 모두 본인이 가진 실력을 마음껏 발휘할 수 있기를 바라며 전 세계 곳곳에서 대회를 보고 계실 팬 여러분과 함께 응원하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
That's right, it's a weird time in the world, but we are continuing. The show must go on here for the PMWL East, and we're going to take a look at how actually everything breaks down, gentlemen, here when it comes to the format and what you're excited for coming up, because we have a lot of game days coming up here, gentlemen. Excuse me. And it's a little bit different compared to what we've had from our PMPL regions. We have play-ins now. We're going to have that opening matches, which is across these first 2 days, which eventually becomes that best of 10. And then things are split up into 3 weeks for us with those play-in days, then going into each super weekend.
Yes, and I mean, the super weekend is super important because that's where you're going to accumulate points and make sure that you get into the league finals. Only the top 16 teams from the all three of the Super Weekends together will be in the finals.
Definitely. And then once all of those 3 Super Weekends are broken down there, Avenger, teams are accruing points there, and then they will be then eventually qualifying into that grand finals, which actually, because we want to make the gravity of the situation all that more important, we've added an extra day as well to that finals, and that's where all the big money is won.
Yeah, that's where $100,000 first place and a lot more money for the top 5 and so on. Honestly, obviously so much money coming into this as a prize pool overall, but I'm excited to get this road on this game started here and the game started, because this format is super interesting.
Yes.
How we're coming in the opening week with a snake seeding into the 2 weekdays we're playing into the Super Weekend, it's going to be so excited to follow.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really cool format to how it actually breaks down. Let's take a look at how the points break down as well, and how all these teams are going to be accumulating points here throughout the days. 20 points for first place for a game. You're very familiar with it from the past PMPL tournaments that have been going on so far. And then what I've called the participation points for a while now, Froz, the 11th through 16th. Even if you're in the game, you're still getting that 1 point, but kills is where it can really matter.
Kills will matter a lot, because around 40% of the points itself from every game will be from kills. Now, at the same time, of course, if you get yourself that chicken dinner, that's a lot of bonus on top of it.
Definitely. And let's take a look at how the prize pool breaks down as well here, because that's what's important too. So, regular league play is on your left-hand side. All of this is fought for, basically, throughout those 3 Super Weekends that are going to be going on. So, after that, if you've placed first across all of those Super Weekends in total, you're going to be bagging yourself 50,000 up towards the top. And everybody does get rewarded. Even if you don't qualify for those Super Weekends, you'll still be down towards some of that kind of $1,000 margin, that point prize. And then the grand finals, Avenger, as you previously mentioned, $100,000 for first place. It's no small chunk of change.
Oh, and 50,000 for second and so on. Honestly, these guys coming in here, they're going to be setting themselves up for life with this. This is life-changing money. You can buy all of your friends and family a new mobile phone, and you can get started playing them as well if you want to. No, jokes aside, this is life-changing money, of course.
Yeah, it's definitely life-changing indeed. So big stuff here for the PMWL East and for West, of course, as that's going to be going down a little bit later. But before we get to all of that, before we get to any of the games, let's take a look at a special treat here that PUBG Mobile Esports has set up for you.
Okay. I set this camera guide like that. Okay. Yeah, we are here. There is virus. We can go anywhere.
Welcome everyone to the PUBG Mobile Club Open 2019 Fall Split Global Final.
Best of the best in the world here with us today, John. We'll see how these teams can work under the pressure that it will push down on them.
Jonathan, his Neo goes down. Jonathan's in the open. He's going for the spray. He's taking blue damage. Needs to figure it out, but 2 of them are down. He's snaking it around. Goes for the spray. Takes it down.
That's when I saw a team that really led the world in terms of their skill level, and then they feel like they're untouchable. But in PUBG Mobile, everybody is constantly reminded of their mortality.
Now we're coming into a new year. There are pro leagues happening all over the world.
Clean kill!
Thousands of teams will battle it out to go to the end of the year for the World Championships and meet and clash on that final stage.
Are you kidding me? 21 million!
Because you're not looking for more runners!
Dropping out of the plane, you need to know that the three guys next to you have your back and they are willing to go with you in any situation.
There's a team that can breach well, it's Loops. Beowulf just shuts them down. Pittsburgh Knight cutting through B4. Down they descend into the valley.
That's right, as if there wasn't enough to already look forward to here. Between the Battlegrounds is an 8-part documentary series that is going to be released throughout the year. And the first episode will be released throughout the first Super Weekend coming up here for the PUBG Mobile World League across East and West. It's a great time, and just even looking at that, if you look at from Malaysia all the way through to all the things that these teams have had to kind of go through, it's a long story, a long road that we're all going to get to check in at. But before we actually do any of that, let's talk about some of the teams that are going to be playing here today and throughout the next couple of weeks. We're starting off things with Group A. Do bear in mind our first 2 days is purely for seeding going into the next 3 weeks of gameplay to start things off. So, Group A, we're going to start things off with a very familiar name to a lot of people. It is Big E-tron.
Yeah, I mean, they are the reigning champ, winning the PMCO fall split. And since then, they've basically been dominating. They won the Indonesian PMPL, both the league and the finals. But in the SEA finals of PMPL, they only got themselves a second place.
Yeah. That's, unfortunate, boo-hoo, but, they're still an amazing roster. They are pushing for those first places. Avenger, why don't you talk to me about Reject Scarlet?
Reject Scarlet, a team coming out from Japan, the only team actually coming out from Japan, and they actually won 4 out of the 12 games from the Japan Championship. Very, very impressive. So I'm happy to see these guys. They're going to have a lot of support, being the only team coming out of their country. So yeah, full country behind them in terms of support from the community. I'm excited to see these guys getting started.
And Megastars and Team Sequel will round out that group. I spoke to BU myself in an interview prior. He seems very confident about their chances. Let's move on to Group B and see how that shapes up. You do Gek.
Yeah, they're actually one of the teams that showed us that Big E-tron actually bleeds. They are mortal because they were the one who actually won the Southeast Asia finals of PMPL. And not only that, but a big marginal. They had 284 points, while second place were on merely 187 points.
Morph team going to be in there as well as No Chance team, but T1 is a bit of an anomaly. Our only South Korean team representing.
Yeah, and obviously formerly known as Xenon, and they're coming in with the 2 roster changes as well, Satan and CCP. The only team, as you said, from South Korea. Honestly, these guys are going to have a massive support as well, being the only team from there. I'm excited to see these guys getting started. It's a new pickup, but it's a massive organization behind them. They're going to have a good amount of support from those guys as well.
Let's move on to Group C and look how things shape up over there. Now, unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, the Pakistan team Freestyle will not be participating today. However, we've got some other teams to be talking about here. Let's start things off with the GXR Celts. I always get that name wrong for some reason.
I mean, they come from the South Asia region, and they got themselves the first place in the PMPL there.
Yeah.
But they also managed to have 3 of the players in the top 10 fraggers. So that means pretty frag heavy team, and that's going to be exciting to see what they can do here.
Kills mean points mean prizes. I like it. And let's talk about another team then. We've got OR Esports in there as well. But let's talk about Nova Godlike.
Formerly known as Godlike, they've made a joint venture, you could say, with Nova Esports. It's really interesting for them to see. They're coming in, qualifying in their 3rd place in their qualifying region. One of the better teams, I would say. I'm excited to see these guys, to see what they can perform. I would definitely expect them to end up in the finals, the grand finals of this. So I'm excited to see how these guys are going to fare throughout the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Got a chance to speak to Aster as well. Seemed very confident too. So great to see kind of the gusto in a lot of these players. Moving on to Group D, of course, we got Team IND, we got Valdus in there, we got RRQ Athena, and TSM Entity. Why don't we start actually with TSM Entity?
TSM Entity, they played in 3 tournaments where they could potentially qualify for this.
Yeah.
They qualified in one of the first ones, and then they still qualified in the other tournaments. So the spots were given to the teams that were below them. Pretty surprising and amazing. Jonathan, one of the big fraggers, also Klochka and Siga. These guys, this is one of the rosters I have my eye on. Like if I was going to be putting money onto who's going to have a potential to win this was going to be one of the teams.
That's a big statement. How about yourself, Froz, when we look towards Valdus?
Yeah, I mean, Valdus, the Murder, is actually also a new joint venture there, formerly known as Illuminate the Murder. they're coming in here. They're pretty hungry, coming from the Thailand region.
Yep.
They won the Thai series, the finals there for PMPL. Only get themselves an 8th place in the South Asia finals. This is their time to prove that they're better than that.
Let's take a look at final group here. Group E. We have 4 more teams representing in Box Gaming, King of Gamers, U Level Up, and Synergy. So why don't we start with U Level Up?
U Level Up coming in, qualifying from Chinese Taipei. I think it's an amazing name, honestly.
Yep.
I think these guys have a lot to prove coming out of Taiwan. I think with these obviously not starting to play, they're going to be looking at the games today, seeing where everybody else is dropping, making notes. That could be a little edge to see where there might be some open drop spots. We're going to get further into that once we get the first game started, though.
Nothing says a box like 2 triangles. I guess it makes a B. But Froz, what do you think about Box Gaming?
I mean, they were voted one of the most popular teams in the Southeast Asia finals in the PMPL. A very dominant team from the Vietnam region.
Yeah.
And they have a new player on the roster as well. Break is on loan from Matrix United. So I'm excited to see what that will mean for the team itself.
Definitely. I think when you look across the entirety of the rosters here, there's so much quality from all the regions that we have representing here for East. So let's take a look at the schedule, of course, as we have 5 games coming at you today, and we will be bookending it with Erangel. I'm keeping that from PMPL Americas, much to the chagrin of John, as we have in between Vikendi, Miramar, and Sandhawk. So Miramar is back, which is cool to see. And then also what's important to note as well, this is not the same format as we had in, say, PMPL Americas, for example, where one team will be sitting out throughout an entire day. Because we only have the 10 games across the 2 days, we will have one group sitting out per map. So E sitting out first, as you can see, and then we go D, C, B, A throughout the day here. So everyone's playing today, Froz.
Yeah.
Lots on the line to try and get yourself a decent seeding.
Well, not only getting a decent seeding, but you got to adapt to the teams all the time, because you're going to have one group not playing all the time.
Yeah.
That means the teams will be different from each map. Not only is the map different, but the teams as well.
And, of course, whilst the PMWL is going on as well, do you want the opportunity to frag Froz and Avenger? Well, you can sign up for the PUBG Mobile Club Open, which is going to be happening very, very soon. And the actual registration process for it is closing very soon.
On Sunday.
So get signed up, and Avenger, from what I can see already, there is a mind-boggling amount of teams that have already signed up.
I think we're going to break through the 50,000 mark teams. Teams, not players, teams. We're talking 200,000 players without subs, without all of this.
Yeah.
It's an amazing amount of players and people that are coming along and trying to vie into, get into the PMCO. It's going to be crazy to see. Maybe we're should make a team, you and I.
There you go.
Maybe
we need a fourth. Who would you pick out of the casters as a fourth? Quick, pick one.
I don't know. Probably John. Probably John.
They're putting their hands up and stuff like that. You pick John?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, there you go, John. Well done. Congratulations. Let's take a look at our first game here. Oh, and by the way, I don't envy the admin's job for dealing with 50,000 teams. We have Erangel as our first game of the day here for us. It's the true tried and tested battleground. Everyone loves it.
It's also the map that we're going to be seeing most during the tournament itself. It's going to be amazing because everyone knows it best. It is the home of every team.
Yep, definitely. Avenger?
I think it's going to be very important to see these teams starting here, because you have to get your drop shot sorted. You have to fight for it now, because that means you could potentially keep it for the rest of the tournament, which is extremely important.
Especially since the teams officially only had 1 day of organized scrims, right? Which can be a little bit chaotic. How are you going to try and position yourself? Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Oh, there's a lot of energy in the air. There's a lot of energy in there. But we're now heading over to the commentator team to bring us Erangel to start off the PMWL East.
Oh, we're so ready to be getting into the action. It's great to be here at the World League. We're finally at these final closing stages of the season. Everybody's been waiting for it. It's time for the Big Kahuna Burger.
It absolutely is. I mean, who doesn't want the Big Kahuna Burger, right? I mean, everybody knows it's the best. But what we do have is some of the best teams available to us. I mean, I'm so excited because there's a lot of pedigree and all that. We're very familiar with the South Asia teams, aren't we, John? We were doing a lot of that last year.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, for me, is there's one team in particular, one player, in fact, which I think changes things up a little bit, and that's Awais. He's now on a team where where I think that the stakes are less high, right? He used to be on Soul, then he was on Fnatic. I think the pressure was pushing down on a lot, but the guy is a very good player. Now he's on a new team. Potentially this is where he can actually prove himself alongside players that he's more comfortable playing with. And that's what I really want to see, because I like the guy, and he's definitely got some grit to continue here today.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen him time and time again be able to have some impact, but maybe, you know, he just needed the rest of those ingredients come through to really step up his game and bring himself to the level of the World League. Because obviously there's no easy competition in this lobby.
There really isn't. I mean, you're coming to this lobby here, and everyone is frightening as hell. And I mean, Bigatron, even the desk was saying, I mean, I know they only came second, right? Yeah. And they were leapfrogged by, I think it was Udo, right? Yeah. And I mean, this is the thing. We've got so much improvement coming through. And Bigatron, yes, they still are the big dogs at the top of the lobby. They've got some very sharp teeth. You've got to be wary of them. But Udo Gang, let's talk about improvement, John, because you remember at the global finals now, they had a lot of support from the fans. We love that. We love to see the fans supporting, but they didn't have the best of runs that tournament. No. Fast forward to now, this team is towards the top, and they've not had any, I don't even think they've had any roster changes at all.
Revitalized, reinvigorated, certainly at the right time as well.
This is the correct time to revitalize.
Exactly. If you're going to choose a time, the time is now.
They've had the Mountain Dew game fuel. They're ready to go, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. They've been able to pick it up. So we'll see if they're able to keep that going. And the question mark there is, did Bigatron sort of lay off a little bit, right? Did they rein back in, because obviously they'd already qualified? Were they sort of playing to their full potential?
Yeah, and that's a really good point to make, because let's rewind a little bit to the prelims for the fall split. Bigatron, they were quite far behind Mega Conquerors, if we remember then, and like they very much secured their position, right? They secured their position in that lobby. They went to the global finals, and then suddenly the global finals, they were about 100, 200 points ahead of everyone else. So it could be them just laying off the gas a little bit, but here at the PMWL, that is not the time to do it.
Day number 1, match 1, it all starts now. It's time for the Battle Royale with Cheese. Let's get into it.
I mean, we don't have Queso in here, but we've got some of the best teams from the East, so let's get it on. I mean, we've got this this playing path coming off the top side, so it's very, very comfortable now. We were talking about what Avenger said on the desk over there, that all the teams, they're looking for their spot to control. This particular playing path pretty much allows everyone to go wherever they want right now, so you want a drop spot, you take it. Here is your chance to lay claim, and we'll see what does happen. You see Megastars already making their way up towards Kameshki, which is a bit of an unorthodox spot to go for, but very safe to begin with. But we'll see where a lot of these teams end up.
Absolutely, and with 15 teams in the lobby, obviously, we're going to be a little bit less crowded than potentially we would be with the full 16, so that might play to the advantage of some of these teams. Is there a particular area where that might play into it more? I mean, maybe around the center, or do you think it's going to focus more towards the edge areas of those circles?
I mean, let's go back to PMPL North Americas, for instance. I mean, Tempo Storm there, they were playing Pachinki right now. Pachinki really affords you a lot of rotational paths, but it really depends how the teams play and how the lobby shapes up, because if we...
What a way to kick it off.
Oh dear. Anyway, if we get a case where the lobby likes to play edge, then Pachinki's great. If everyone likes to play very much crunched up, it's not so great. But already, I got Missile here from T1, throwing in the nades towards Velmoth.
Oh, nicely found there. Goddard trying to have that oversight, but can't really stop the encroaching players from T1. They are going to capitalize and get the flush on out. Velmoth does fall, and T1, you know, we were looking at this team, a newly picked up roster for the large org that really sort of dominates a lot of South Korean esports. They're started off well. I mean, we've got a military circle. We've got them starting off strong over in Rosok. What more could go wrong?
Do you know what I love the most about this? Like, we literally get into PMWL. The first nade that's thrown is perfect. That's how you know the kind of caliber of teams we've got ahead of us. But yeah, this circle is rough, man. There's about, I'd say 40% of the circle is water at the moment, so teams going to have to make some quick decisions. Most teams probably will decide to stay towards the northern island, try and take a position there before committing fully to Sosnovka military base. But if you want to take a risk early on, you can maybe try and take towards Tower, you know, the satellite, and hold that area down. But there's a lot of risks involved here. Most teams, they're going to chill out. They know they've got a lot of time to move, but they do know that right now, John, landmass is limited.
It's not the easiest thing to find that real estate, but we do have one or two clashes coming through. I mean, over in Raw Soccer, we've got this one that's currently going on our screens. Hang on a minute, we've got another one going off. That's in North George. Nova are taking a little bit of a fight.
Yeah, that's Nova Godlike there. Morph actually taking some shots onto them. But Valdez now, what they have currently is this nice little freeway split. Sure, they're down a member, but right now T1, they're kind of like the flies in the spider's trap. Valdez currently have the web set up for them. So when they do leave here, they should take a little bit of damage. And look, they're not very looted up. Only level 1 vest, level 1 helmet. If Valdez, Goddard, Martin, or Joan over here can find a decent shot onto them, they might get a free little knock and then move things out from there. Luckily for T1, they have a little bit of an overwatch coming in from the other side of the Rose and Rozok, but you'll imagine people are going to be flooding down from Severny, Orange Rock, Udo to try and make this happen. Here is the dash from T1 though.
They're pushing in, they want to displace Johnny, take control of the building, but two of them go down. Excellent side swipes, excellent crossfire set up against the push from T1. They're going for the fight, they will be able to get one down, but two players left standing. Go for the flush, that's the second player of Valdez the Murder to fall, so it is now a 2 versus 2 with two of T1 down.
That's very, very smart. Satan knew that I just need to push this right now. If I take the kill, they'll only have 2 players and they cannot be too close by. We know what kind of setup they wanted to go for there, but well played by Valdez. They knew exactly what kind of situation they had to set up to even try and guarantee some semblance of survival for them. I don't think they did get the flush there, so it's slightly unfortunate, but T1, they're in a bit of a rough spot at the moment.
They're going to have a lot of damage done to the armor, to the meds, to the equipment, like you were saying, Blank. But they managed to get all of their players up. Goddard is down, and Martin's the last standing member for Valdez the Murder. CCP playing close range warrior. He's got the pump action and the micro Uzi. He's if you get into range, then you're going to know about it.
I mean, he's dodging and ducking around these fences, so you don't want to come into close contact with him. I like how T1, they're all wearing pretty much the horse outfits. You got one of the players with the horse head on this guy's got the horse tail coming through right now, and they're making a good dash for it as well. So this is a very nice start for T1. And we talk about T1 as an esports team. They're pretty well known for being this team that is able to select the best players. Now, the Desk was saying that they made a couple of roster changes coming into this one. I trust in T1 to make the right decision, and so far it seems to be paying off.
But on the other side of this fight, you got Valdez the Murder, previously obviously known as Illuminate the Murder. These guys have a legacy, right, behind them in PUBG Mobile. So starting off the first game down to 1 player, not ideal.
No, but they did lose that big star player in Mattoy to Team Secret. He left shortly after they had that devastating loss from dropping from 2nd to 5th place in the global finals, which really did affect them in terms of cash prize as well as prestige. Didn't even get to stand on that podium at the end. Now, this is the team that everyone wants to talk about, right? It's BTR. They're taking shots towards Mega. Vexy just moving his way through, just weaving across the bridge right now. And there's a couple of teams that have moved their way down into Sosnovka military base. Team IND, this is a team very, very comfortable with Sosnovka. They usually play around Ferry Pier, try and hold down that crossing, but they're immediately moving into C block nice and early.
They've got control of the base, but we'll see where the circle goes, because if they have to leave, it might not be ideal for them. Oh, okay, hang on a minute. We've got a little bit of a sneaky play coming in from GXR Celts. 1 player hiding around the wall. Megastars don't seem to know about this, and to be fair, why would they?
I mean, the difficulty here is that Megastars, they've currently got him on lockdown. This guy may as well be in handcuffs right now. There's not real much chance of him escaping. Maybe he gets 1 knock and then immediately calls for reinforcements, but you're expecting Megastars to respond very quickly, but Encore definitely saw that. Does he know it's a solo? Does he want to push it?
They've got the backup now over the top of the hill. They spotted it out, but down come the reinforcements. They push in, and Megastars do find rocks. Will get the flush, pick up the loot. A little bit of damage done, so if GXR Celts can capitalize now, they might be able to get something in response. A lot of the Megastars players actually cornered here.
Yeah, I mean, this is what happened. They all descended on this one building, and now they're kind of crunched. GXR can potentially take advantage of that, but you wonder how much they can get done. Megastars, though, starting off well. I think this is a team filled with very heavy fraggers. In fact, Paradox are remember last year was just absolutely criminal on that fragging leaderboard. But every team now making their way down. Nova Godlike got Smokey OP, a man with a massive history, quite legendary in fact, also making his way down through hospital with the rest of his team. Unfortunately, it looks like they don't have many vehicles to their advantage, and here we see Celts just leaving that fight. They don't want to take it any longer. They know that right now what they'll have to do is crash a compound. Not ideal situation for them, especially when they're down a member.
Absolutely. We talked about how, well, they talked on the desk about how GXR Celts were really this heavy fragging team, but now they're down to 3. Will they have that same sort of bulldozer strength?
Yeah, and especially on Erangel, you want to be able to lay claim and make a name for yourself here on the first Erangel. Like, this is our spot. It's been made a little bit more difficult by basically the erraticness of the circle, but there's a big chance here. Let's quickly talk about the circles because we're about to see the next one. There's a big chance here that it could go north again, and that would be a perfect start to the PMWL, but it does center here down onto military base, and this is pretty much a confirmed military base right now because it hard shifts so massively to the south. So anyone on the north side, they want to make their way across now. Luckily, Sosnovka has a lot of areas to hold you. There's a lot of high ground, a lot of low ground that you can kind of sneak by in. Some teams will have a better pick of the lot, especially teams that already made their way in. I'm looking at Team IND, for instance, RCS also in a decent position.
Yeah, Reject Scarlet making their way on the boat rotation. The boatation.
Boatation.
As we coined over in the PMPL.
Yes.
Oh, I do miss that. Hopefully on Sanok we're going to see some pirate action, but we'll have to get there first. And
make a 360, yeah.
Exactly. We'll see just what they're able to bring to it. Bigatron making the cross now over the eastern bridge towards that military island Ryzen in the sights of TSM Entity. Oh, they're going to be able to plink away actually on the other side of the bridge. Ryzen takes some damage, but Paradox, he's come into conflict to TMIND on the southeast corner of military base.
Yeah, and I mean, this Snacks actually taking down Paradox is kind of sad because, you know, Snacks used to be on Megastars in the first place before he left to go to Team IND, and now Snacks is one of the heavy hitters from that team. He was very scary. It took him a little while to rev up the engines, but then as soon as he got going, wow, he was one hell of a force to deal with. It looks like the engines are pre-revved here for PMWL.
Oh, they're into the red right now. They're straight on towards on-course position. Knocked out, no problem. The rest of IND rally around, and that's an easy flush out away. So you can see him in the background there. He does not want any of that.
It just leaves. But this is one of the more important things of the PMWL and playing in PUBG Mobile is the decision making. If you need to make those decisions quick and on the fly. You see a teammate of yours go down and you can think, maybe I can help him. You don't want to do that. You're looking for placement points here. You want to get the best seating you can get here on the first 2 opening days. But this also gives you a lot of practice. It feels like to me, though, it will be Nova Godlike actually making the boatation itself all the way from the western side of Quarry. This is a long one, though, and they're coming into... It's only Circle 2, so it doesn't hit too hard, but they will have to use a fair bit of meds to make this one happen. And with RCS already on the side of Sosnovka, you're going to be coming into pretty heavy fire.
And let's not forget as well that the plane path was very northern here, Blank, which means that all of these teams have had to travel quite a long way. That's going to reduce the amount of meds available at the end of these fights, right? Because you're normally hoping that, you know, you fight through, you gain some more meds, but if there's less picked up, there's less in the lobby, and that might not play too well for Nova Godlike.
Maybe not. There are a couple of players down there. Look at that. The play zone already takes down Vampire. Very, very unfortunate. That's Gil going down too. That's on that side of the map. So they're having a pretty good time. Team Secret. Neo just jumps down. He's taking a fair bit of shots, and it's Bigatron actually holding down the cross here. And why wouldn't they? They're such an aggressive team. Luxy with a long range.
He's going to be able to spray down under the bridge. Nade's being cooked, but the rest of them having their goose found just the same. And another spray down, easy pickups coming through. TSM Entity getting dismantled here. This is why Bigatron, they're the current reigning world champions. They roll straight on up, go for the fight with Clutch Gods. And he shuts it down. Zuxi brings it in.
I love that. I love that so much. That Luxy's like, I'm going to get the triple. And then Zuxi's like, look, man, I can't let my brother do all the work. I got to jump in here and help out my twin. And now it's Jumper coming in from U2. Bigatron looking for a little bit of revenge here.
Blood for the Blood Gods themselves. Bigatron, Red Aliens. standing strong. Looks like they're going to have more offerings sent their way. Yudu trying to cross as well. This is the team as well, remember, that beat them significantly in their region, in the SEA PMPL, so they're going to be pretty chuffed to be able to bridge guard them on this one.
There's so many teams trying to make their way across as well. You've got Valdis up here, you've got Yudu as well. Bigatron is kind of like a meat grinder at the end of the bridge. It is so difficult to get past them, but Morph, they're coming up behind BTR, and this is the issue for them, and there's good positions for Morph behind them just to gatekeep themselves. So BTR, they've got to make a quick decision now. Do we leave the bridge or do we continue this fight? Orange Rock on our screens, Marvy try and take some shots onto Team Secret. iShot so low, he just has to hold this position.
He needs to get the healing on. They are in the blue zone currently, and these crosses are becoming really, really treacherous. The early position's paying off very, very well, but Megastar's into another fight. They're trying to rack up a couple more kills. They're down to 2 players, remember, from their earlier engagements. And it looks like they might be down to 1 less now as Heineken starting to push in. Vexy as well up top, trying to just pop the first aid, get any sort of advantage he can, but the nade's being cooked, going to be thrown up the stairs, will force him down around the corner, but it's not going to be far enough. Easy flush coming out.
Vexy is dead, Awace desperately trying to provide support. In the meantime, BTR has given up the position, and that will be Awace actually going down too. No chance, seems to have absolutely the chance here as they take the opportunity and run with it. Yudu Gang also make their way through with 3 players, just T1 though, however, had to bide their time on the northern side of the eastern bridge. They'll be finally making their way through at BTR, looking for an aggressive position as the circle heads towards the southwest side.
3 teams now eliminated in the lobby. That's the Megastars, Valdis, the Murder, and TSM Entity. 3 casualties to the hard shifters. Nova Godlike bring them up close as well. That's the 4th to fall.
Down to 11 teams. A little bit of flying vehicle action there. You love to see it. Morph now on the eastern side. BTR currently right behind them, but Morph are looking to gatekeep, and BTR, they're in a struggling spot right now. They're rushing away from the blue zone. They know they don't want to show their face directly into Morph, and this is a beautiful rotation on the side of the cliff. Reduce the amount of sight lines that's coming through. Just perfect read from BTR, and now they can rock up on the side of this cliff and actually have a decent position to push through. Morph knows they have to move out right now. Moving down the hill, Frenzy, what are you doing?
He's going to get shot straight out. You can't be in that sort of a situation. 4 players from Bigatron looking straight at you. Luxy, though, does get downed himself. They're going to go for the heal up and maybe go for the fight. They don't have too long. 45 seconds before the next blue zone closes blank, and you've got T1 over the north side as well, potentially to play spoiler.
It's a beautiful read from BTR, and they move down. You imagine in that moment, it's Morph to actually kind of panic a little bit. Out come the smokes. It provides a little bit more cover for BTR. T1, like I said, now joining the fight also, but they've sent Saden off to the northern side. He wants to try and insert himself into the circle itself, and Celts, they're moving down from the south as well, trying to move all the way up, and it's Biu just on the Fury Road against RCS.
Bigatron still trying to take that fight. Team Secret crash. Oh my quarter compound. 180 slide. And he's out in the open. Gets out of the buggy at just the wrong time. But for some reason, he's able to dodge around it. Hits the deck. Gets back up. Does the do-si-do and gets himself to safety.
Yeah, I'm going to start asking production to bring us some cards with 10s on them, because that was a 10 out of 10 performance right there. And if I was judging, yeah, that'd be absolutely a 10 from me. No chance though. They're in a little bit of open ground. Surprisingly, we did see Team Secret able to pull that one off. I love the 180 spin out. That's beautiful. Morph, though, they're still feeling the brunt of even trying to step to BTR. They will not leave them alone.
No mercy, just so pinned in that watchtower. He's got really nowhere to go. See if he's able to escape that pressure. RCS, Reject Scarlet, have their building on the northwestern side of the circle, but a couple of shots can come through. Snipers popping off for Team Secret. You've got GRX Celts as well on that western side, so potential for a little bit of a clash there.
This is ridiculous as well, by the way. BTR have come into this game and they are not pulling any punches. Nice grenade comes through, counter one over the top. Zuxi has to move back. He's desperately trying to help his teammate Ryzen. Now there's a knock on either side, but currently Zuxi and BTR have the better shot of it. Right now, Morph are very exposed to a lot of other teams, whereas, you know, BTR, they can hold strong. Nice nade comes to the top, but it's not enough.
T1 coming in and playing savior there, Bigatron. They see that not come up in the kill feed. They know that they're going to be safe to res. 2 players down for Morph, as they are really suffering at this stage, eliminated as well. And the rest of Bigatron can come to bring up the rear. You can see them all recoalescing.
Yeah, vehicle's a little bit low. Zuxi just drops that one down. Will provide a little bit more cover. T1, like you say, actually adding to that fight. 10 teams, 32 alive, so around about 3 per team on average. There's not a lot of players here. RQ, though, they're playing this very safe with a 2-2 split. Here is Team Secret trying to take down Celts, who are currently pinned inside a house at the moment.
Yuhai able to get a lot of damage done. Cooks a nade as well, tries to send it in. We'll see if he's able to do it. Sliver of H-plate keeps GXR Celts up to 3 players for now. But they will not let up just yet.
Most teams, they've found their spot within. And they're just waiting this one out at the moment. Just trying to find as many little locations as possible. Next circle comes through on top of Team IND. Remember, these guys got into the circle very early, so they've had to pick of the litter in terms of compounds that they want to hold. Currently, they're in the destroy plane zone, so they've got a lot of cheeky positions they can hold in. Here's Team Secret, though, moving through on the buggy, trying to see where they can land. I think they have an inkling that Team IND will be holding over on this side. iShot's just looking to scout out. Surely they might have heard that vehicle now moving.
There's so many vehicles razzing around, though. Maybe it could get lost in the noise. We'll have to see if they've got their wits about them. Control tower occupied by the 2 remaining players from T1. Obviously, escaping early from that fight over in Rostock. They've got 7 kills currently, Blank. They're doing incredibly well.
I mean, T1 was, it's not a team that I expected so much from already. For the majority of the other tournaments, the Korean teams that have been put forward don't have the most amazing performance, but T1, like we're saying, they select some hella good players, and Korea is really making a statement in the first game here.
Absolutely. We'll see if they're able to keep it up. Of course, it's a marathon, not a sprint here, but the sprint comes through. The crash on towards Team IND. 2 players down. They've got 2 still standing. Kratos trying to rattle them down. Will be able to put some pressure back over towards RRQ. They have 1 knock. Ernie will be able to heal it up as well, but they are slowed down for now.
You got Senior, Ernie, as well as D2E. Pretty classic amalgamation of a team there. They've been together for a very long time, but despite taking shots from almost everywhere, D2E comes out with a shot to U-High. Nice headshot coming through, and this might give them the opening to push in. They have to get out of the line of sight of BTR because they will continue to shoot down bullets their way, and one will find them. Eventually, Senior does fall to that.
GXR Celts are able to get the off angle as well onto that fight. RRQ desperately trying to put the pieces back together. We'll see if they're able to get into this airstrip for now. On the northwestern side, you've got Reject Scarlet as well, trying to make that push across those compounds. RRQ really suffering at this stage.
BTR, though, as well as T1, they control pretty much the entirety of the eastern split of this circle. If we slap a line down the middle of this, you've got 2 teams on the right-hand side. The other 7, they're off left on the west, so it's a massive brawl here. Right now, BTR, they can just hold out, as can T1. But this will be defined by the next circle, John. Depending on where it goes, T1 and BTR could have a rough job ahead of them.
No chance team eliminated on the northwestern side. Reject Scarlet now can push in a little bit closer. IND had control of the airfield for such a long time, but it seems to be slipping away. Nades getting thrown on over.
He has to get him.
GXR Celts eliminated. That's going to be the kill as well as the bleed out comes through. RRQ, you lose yet another.
Now just down to Ernie left. Sky is a heavy flexer in terms of the frag potential. Next circle comes through, heads towards just the southeast side of the circle. T1, they know they have to get into the circle very, very quickly. Should be able to find a decent position. And you do, despite all the tragedy that they faced against on that bridge, they've managed to make their way across and actually remain in this circle. T1, though, with the duo, are making it happen.
They have 8 kills now, Blank. These guys are popping off. Okay, ready to see what else they've got for us. Team Secret as well, holding their own on the western side, but they have quite a long push as the circle out to the east, and all of these teams are going to be heavy duking it out. They will not come out of this one unscathed, but as Biggitron with 3 players on the wall, they have a lot of control over this ground, Blank.
Yeah, they haven't had to move either. I mean, they don't have to worry about anything to the north. As long as they can take off everyone to the west side, they're absolutely fine to just hold this one out for the time being. They know that there's really not a lot of good cover on the ground ahead of them, so they could just let other teams pick each other apart. They've already got a decent amount of kills. They're looking for that chicken dinner.
You do. They want to push straight on in. They're challenging Team IND's position right now. They're going for the fight. 7 teams remain, and they're looking to bring it down to 6. 1 player, and it's now just Kratos for IND to hold under the wing, but you do are right around the corner. Oh, Fredo just has to hide himself over underneath in the engine there to heal on up after taking a little bit of damage from the sidelines.
Yeah, there's a potential that Team IND can go for risky resurrection here. I mean, they're surrounding all sides, but currently it's the other team who is pinned down. Yudu taking so much fire. This smoke's paid off massively for Team IND, and now they can heal. They are about a breath's width away from Yudu, and now Drax is trying to crawl his way around the snake in the grass.
Smokes are up. If they can hold this down for just a minute longer, they might be able to get something as they strike out, but you do eliminate Reject Scarlet, bringing us down to 6 teams remaining in the first game, Blank.
You do all the bullets. They fly everywhere, and finally Fredo goes down. They have the UAs, but if that explodes, Drax goes down too, and no one's really focusing at the moment. BTR, they found out Ernie. RRQ goes down in 5th.
Team Secret eliminated now. 4 teams remain. On the south side, you've got Biggitron, really the dominant force here, but when it comes to kills, they have some competition. There's 9 kills on the scoreboard for T1, sorry, the South Korean representatives. They've had a real good shout, but it looks like their road might just be coming to an end here.
I mean, there is absolutely no road ahead of him in the first place. That's IND. Kratos moves around the side. Goes to fight with the gods themselves. Fredo looking for another one. That's 420 down. Kratos still alive, but it's Fredo with 0 HP whatsoever, and he's taken down. Kratos will survive this one.
It's it from the buggy explosion, able to get that frag, but they do get eliminated in the meantime from the off angles. Still in it, T1, they're looking to try and push across, maybe get some ground. Biggitron though, 3 players alive, all nice and healthy. They're finally going to have to move now, Blank.
And did we expect anything other than this? Here's T1, 9 kills, a lot of damage on the board. Satan, you pretty much know that he's got no HP, no meds on board either. And now it's just time for BTR to pick up the pieces.
Smokes being dropped out, getting their positions. Satan low HP, no armor to speak of left, no meds as well. They've suffered, but they've gotten this far, and they're going to have at least a guaranteed 19 points on the game, Blank.
Satan, he's looking at that second place, but Kratos currently going undetected. Satan just wants to hold here as long as possible, but does mean that BTR will have to move all the way across. You can see that he's blown out all the tires. It's going to be very difficult to shoot him from underneath, but he's outside of the zone itself. BTR controlling all of it. Suxy making the mad spray. Actually, Satan's firing backwards. That is a massively ballsy move.
Okay, he does pay the price for it. Unfortunately, Biggitron do eliminate them. Still, a very strong game from T1. They had to rotate all the way from Rozhok, remember, and they were in a fight right from the start. So, fantastic stuff coming out from them. But IND, Team IND, they've managed to make it to second place as well. A really good start. And to be honest, though, did we expect anything else? Biggitron Red Aliens, they're doing really strong. Strong play right now.
Massively. I mean, I'm surprised Kratos was actually able to get out. That was cheeky. And now Zuxi, Luxley, and Microboy all looking to just shoot shots over towards Kratos' side. If I'm Kratos, though, I think that maybe I'm just better off going out here in second and not giving the kill points across. Though it is just for sealing, so it doesn't matter too much here. The IND Kratos can go for this win. It would just look cool if he could do it.
They're sending the nades out. Okay, goes through. Kratos finds one, but they spot him out. It's Bigatron Red Aliens, the current reigning champions, to bring it home in the first match of the World League East. Fantastic stuff. Brilliant to see them back on form.
That's insanity, to be fair. I mean, like you said, what do we expect otherwise? Bigatron Red Aliens have been significantly like one of the best teams in the history of PUBG Mobile just to come out, but yeah, a wonderful play, and I'm sure the desk will have more to say about it.
Absolutely, we're going to send it back on over. Kalaris, over to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, Bigatron Red Aliens, great stuff from them, and even seeing the first circle play out, their position kind of northwest even I should say, Froz, of Milta, and then taking the bridge, everything kind of fell into place. It looked like their plan was very well executed.
It looked like it was well executed, but sometimes some stuff that just doesn't go the way you want it to go, and that happened this time. But at the same time, there is more games. You can still do this one more time, for example.
And also, this is why the southern farm split is such a strong start. The farm has easy access to basically everywhere. You don't have any kind of enemies somewhere close, and they were taking control somewhat early. They decided to stay on the south side of the bridge and make sure they got all the kills as well.
Yes, indeed, and 4 of those came from that bridge camp, maybe even more, but in total 10 kills with 30 points on the board here for Bigatron Red Aliens. T1 and Team IND get themselves 19 points on the board as well. Plenty of kills coming in for them as we take a look through our 9th through 15th as well here, and we see GXR Celts actually getting themselves 3 kills on the board as well as some placement points too, so pretty kind of top heavy for a little bit, but a slightly nice distribution throughout the middle of this.
I mean, it was a rough circle as well, starting off with a military circle straight away. We saw a lot of teams actually getting stuck on both the east and the west bridge because both of the bridges were actually camped by teams, and it kind of became chokeholds for a lot of them where they lost players, they got delayed, they had to play a lot in the blue.
And of course, I was asking for a long time to get myself the runway circle when it came to PMPL Americas, and sure as enough, we get our first game here for the PMWL East, and we get it. I'm so happy, Avenger.
It's like it's fixed. It's like it's rigged for you, no, of course not. But I love to see these endings because this is kind of the curveballs where you see some of the the hardest circles, and this is where the best teams, they usually perform the best. Yes, TSM Entity didn't do that as well, but it's a rough circle for them as well. But I didn't expect the choke points on the bridges to be that many. I didn't expect that many teams to be fighting at the same time. We saw a lot of third parties as well, and I was kind of surprised. While we had 3 to 5 teams early on taking really good positions on the runways, on the southern positions, on the military island, and getting a lot of kills from that as well.
Let's take a look at the head-to-head, gentlemen, and see how these two teams up towards the top have fared against one another. Bigatron on the right-hand side, T1 on the left. 2,000 damage already coming in from Bigatron, and I think, was it Luxy that did quite a lot of that?
Luxy did actually about 850 of those, and he got 7 kills himself. So 7 out of 10 kills is from Luxy. But at the same time, T1, we saw them early on fighting in Rosok actually, and managed to get out of there alive. They were one of the last teams to actually rotate to the military island, but they managed to get themselves such a good position, so many kills, so many points for first game.
Let's take a look at the overall total damage as well here throughout this game and see how that has stacked up against one another, because we see Bigatron Red Aliens up there very heavily. IND though also putting in a big shift, as well as Team Secret, but Team Secret, as Froz previously mentioned, did have control of that west bridge for a while, so you'd expect a bit of numbers coming in there, Avenger.
Yeah, you expect, honestly, yes, of course, when you're bridge camming, you expect to get a lot of kills from it, but 1,400 damage compared to 5 kills, it didn't get out of it what we kind of expected from it.
Sure.
1,400 damage, that's effectively 14 kind of kills as well in terms of damage, but 5 coming out of that, it's fair enough. I would like to see a bit more. It's respectable. Nice to see 2,000 damage though on Bigatron here from the beginning. That's insane.
It's a great start. It's a great statement for them, I suppose, as well as the casters previously alluded to, and as you guys previously alluded to, previous kind of world champions as they do stand. But let's take a look at the Mountain Dew do the do moments. Oof, that's a mouthful, but I like saying it. I really like saying it. And of course, we started off with this fight in Rozhok with Valdez the Murder going up against T1, and T1 was down for a little bit. They actually lost some people in terms of knocks, but then they got everyone back up. A great recovery.
Yeah, they recovered greatly, and they actually killed 3 of the Valdez the murder team players. Yeah. And basically, they won that fight of Rozhok for now at least. Who knows what will happen next time. But not only that, they're getting themselves those 3 points early on, securing a lot of points no matter how the game would have gone.
I feel like these two first days, when you have those kind of drop conflicts as well, Avenger, these first 2 days for seeding are a good opportunity for each of these teams to figure out where they're dropping in those fights.
It is literally the best, and honestly, fighting for Russia, I don't think it's worth it when you have a lot of other opportunities. Mansion was open, Lipovka was open. Even with a plane coming in from the eastern side, flying over to the west, I was surprised to see that we didn't have any teams seeing drumming into Lipovka in the Mansion area. Very nice pull up here. They were actually being Bigatron here. They were being gate kept on the eastern side of the circle, but they managed to get in, managed to survive, staying the 3 guys alive with that. So that was extremely well played by Bigatron, coming late into the circle.
They also had a good 2-2 split there, actually. They had 2 up on the hill on the south side, while 2 of them actually crashed the fence towards the military compound. So they made sure that the ones up on the south there actually could hold out and make sure that no one else would come in from